The Los Angeles Dodgers are on the verge of pulling off a blockbuster trade that could shake up Major League Baseball. Rumors are swirling about a potential mega deal with the New York Mets, and if this goes through, it could be a game changer for the Dodgers' World Series hopes. Could a superstar slugger like Pete Alonso be heading to LA? What will the Dodgers have to give up to make this happen? This could be one of the biggest trades of the year, and Dodgers fans won't want to miss what's coming next. Stay tuned as we break it all down. The Los Angeles Dodgers are once again making headlines, and this time, it's for a potentially massive trade that could shake up the entire league. Reports are swirling that the Dodgers and the New York Mets are deep in discussions over a blockbuster deal that could bring another superstar to Los Angeles. If this deal goes through, it could not only shift the balance of power in the National League but also send a clear message to the rest of Major League Baseball that the Dodgers are all in on winning another World Series. But what exactly is being discussed? Who are the key players involved? And what does this mean for the Dodgers' championship aspirations? Let's break it all down. First, let's set the stage. The Dodgers are coming off another strong season, but in Los Angeles, simply making the playoffs isn't enough. This is a franchise built on winning, and the front office knows that anything short of a World Series title is a disappointment. They've already made some aggressive moves in the offseason, adding big names to bolster their roster. But if this rumored trade with the Mets comes to fruition, it could be the final piece that pushes them over the top. The Mets, on the other hand, are in a very different position. After spending heavily in recent years to build what was supposed to be a championship-caliber team, things haven't quite gone according to plan. Injuries, underperformance, and tough competition have put them in a situation where they may need to rethink their strategy. So, who are the players involved? While nothing has been finalized, multiple reports suggest that the Dodgers have their eyes on one of the Mets' biggest stars. The name that keeps coming up is Pete Alonso, the power-hitting first baseman who has been the heart and soul of the Mets' offense. Alonso is a proven slugger, capable of changing the game with one swing of the bat. He's been one of the most feared power hitters in the league, and pairing him with the already stacked Dodgers lineup would make Los Angeles even more dangerous. But why would the Mets be willing to part ways with Alonso? It all comes down to timing and finances. Alonso is set to become a free agent after the season, and if the Mets don't believe they can re-sign him, they might prefer to get value in return now rather than risk losing him for nothing. Additionally, if New York decides to retool or rebuild, moving Alonso could free up payroll and allow them to invest in other areas of the team. If the Dodgers do land Alonso, the implications would be massive. Los Angeles already boasts one of the best offenses in baseball, with stars like Mookie Betts and Shohei Ohtani leading the charge. Adding Alonso to that mix would give them even more firepower, creating one of the most feared lineups in recent memory. Pitchers would have nowhere to hide, and the Dodgers would be able to overwhelm teams with their relentless offensive attack. But Alonso isn't the only name being discussed. Some reports indicate that the Dodgers and Mets could be discussing a package deal that includes pitching help as well. The Dodgers have dealt with injuries in their rotation, and while they have some strong arms, adding another frontline starter could give them even more depth for a deep postseason run. The Mets have several pitchers who could be intriguing trade candidates, including veterans who might benefit from a change of scenery. One thing is clear, if this trade happens, it will send shockwaves throughout Major League Baseball. The Dodgers have never been afraid to make bold moves, and this would be yet another example of their commitment to winning at all costs. It's also a reminder that in today's game, championship teams aren't just built in the offseason, they're built through aggressive mid-season moves that can push a team over the top. Of course, there are still plenty of questions to be answered. What would the Dodgers have to give up in return? Would they be willing to part with top prospects to get a deal done? And how would this move impact the chemistry of the team? These are all factors that the front office has to consider before pulling the trigger on a trade of this magnitude. Pete Alonso is the kind of player who can carry an offense. He's not just a power hitter, he's a game changer. With multiple 40-plus home run seasons under his belt, he has the ability to completely alter the course of a game with a single swing. Imagine the impact he could have in a lineup that already features Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, and Shohei Ohtani. Opposing pitchers would be forced to navigate through an absolute gauntlet of hitters, with no easy outs from top to bottom. That kind of firepower is exactly what the Dodgers need to separate themselves from the competition. But as much as this deal makes sense for the Dodgers, it also raises important questions. What will they have to give up in order to get Alonso? The Mets aren't going to just hand over their star first baseman without a significant return, and that could mean the Dodgers will have to part with some of their top prospects, or key young players. Names like Gavin Stone, Bobby Miller, or even top catching prospect Dalton Rushing have been floated in trade discussions. The Dodgers have always been smart about maintaining a balance between short-term success and long-term sustainability, but at some point, they may need to sacrifice some of their future talent in order to win now. Another factor to consider is Alonso's contract situation. He's set to become a free agent at the end of the season, which means the Dodgers would either need to work out an extension or risk losing him after a few months. Would they be willing to give him a long-term deal, especially when they've already committed so much money to Shohei Ohtani? And if they don't extend him, would a short-term rental be worth the cost of acquiring him? These are the tough questions the Dodgers front office has to weigh before finalizing any potential deal. Beyond Alonso, there's also speculation that the Dodgers could look to add another starting pitcher in this trade. The rotation has been solid but not as dominant as they would like, especially with injuries affecting key arms. A deal that brings in a reliable veteran pitcher could give them the depth they need for a deep playoff run. The Mets have several arms that could fit that role, including Jose Quintana, who has been a steady presence on the mound. If the Dodgers could package Alonso with a solid pitcher, it would address multiple needs at once and make them even more dangerous heading into the postseason. From the Mets' perspective, this trade could mark a major shift in their strategy. After years of aggressive spending and high expectations, things haven't gone as planned. Trading Alonso would signal that they are pivoting toward a new approach, one that focuses on younger talent and financial flexibility. If they can land top-tier prospects from the Dodgers, they might be willing to make the move, especially if they don't believe they can re-sign Alonso in free agency. For Dodgers fans, this is an exciting time. The team is already in a strong position, but adding a superstar like Alonso or even additional reinforcements could make them even more dominant. If this trade goes through, it wouldn't just be about making the playoffs. It would be about winning it all and cementing the Dodgers as the team to beat in October. Stay tuned because this situation is developing fast. If the Dodgers and Mets come to an agreement, it could be one of the biggest